Have you ever thought about taking a beginner motorcycle course like the MSF or whatever it's called in your state or even your country? Thought about, was it worth it? Was it worth your money and time? Today, I'll be talking about my experience with that, what my thought process was kind of going in, what actually happened while I was taking the course, and then just kind of my overall thoughts of, is it worth it? What's up, y'all? It's XIII. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So like I mentioned, gonna talk about my experience with the MSF course and, kind of my take on whether it's actually worth it. Depending on what state you're in, it might be pretty expensive. For example, here in California, the course does cost about $300 versus I know when I was back in Chicago, it was like $20. So pretty big difference. And in other countries, it might even be a lot different. So first, I'll kind of start off with some thoughts or preconceptions that I had going in to the course. I thought it was going to be a bunch of scrubs like me, going to be a bunch of young kids versus me, kind of in my late 20s. And then I had fears as well. So how am I going to do the swerve maneuver, which is like that rapid movement with good control? Am I going to drop the bike? What if I lose control of the throttle and crash before like when I did when I was young? So a lot of these kinds of thoughts. And then reality was, when I got there, not everyone was a scrub. Some people actually had some riding experience from other countries or had been on dirt bikes when they were younger. So it was a pretty wide variety. Age groups as well. It was not just young folks. There was a whole variety from all age groups. Reasons why people were taking the course was different, right? It depended on each and every individual. One wanted to cut time off their commute to work, and that was their reasoning for taking the MSF course to get their license. Other folks were just, hey, motorcycles are cool, so why not? There's one guy there that was having a midlife crisis, and he just really needed to do something different. And then my reason was stress or burnout from residency. Plus, actually, fear of riding from my motorcycle crash when I was young and dumb, like I've talked about before. Now on to the course itself. Did I drop the bike? You already know. So my dumbass dropped the bike 10 minutes into the first riding session. What happened was I slammed on the front brake handle while straddle walking during a turn. I basically lost balance and dropped the bike. I was barely moving, very low speed, but it was pretty damn embarrassing. So it is what it is. That was the fear I had going in, and it happened right at the beginning. In a way, it was kind of a blessing in disguise because after I dropped it that first time, the rest of the riding course, the riding sessions, I was chilling. What I had feared happened, and you just kind of move on. So it is what it is. Next, the slow speed maneuvers were hands down the hardest. Sharp turns from a stop, counterbalancing at slow speeds, the zigzagging between the cones drill. I honestly thought speed was going to be the hardest thing to kind of do or maintain, but it turned out that the slow speed maneuvers were actually the hardest and probably the biggest challenge that I had in the course itself. There were things that happened to other students. One person straight up launched, like legit yeeted the bike during the first clutch control exercise. After that, I didn't feel about dropping the bike at all. So, one person had their rear wheel kind of slide and then fall because they were always dragging the rear brake because they couldn't quite figure out where to put their feet. A couple people struggled with counter steering and would go off course or outside of the cone lines just because the technique of it pushing to turn, like pushing right, turn right, push left, turn left. You know, we've all kind of heard that phrase before, right? That was just kind of more difficult for them to do, so there was that. Eventually, they all got it down. But the main thing is that this course is the place to learn, the place to actually make all these mistakes and learn from them, right? So, yeah. So what are my kind of overall thoughts? You learn a bunch of skills. There's no denying that, right? You learn skills, but at the end of the day, it's all in a controlled environment. So knowing that, you kind of have to shift your perspective, right, of what you're kind of expecting. By no means does this course make you a master. You obviously you need to continue practicing what you learn. For example, the slow speed moves, the emergency maneuvers, braking techniques, everything like that. Riding in the real world, aka on the streets with environmental and traffic hazards, is very, very different. But I felt more confident approaching the real world because of the course. Was everything that I learned like things that I agreed with? I would say no. Honestly, like not everything I learned in the class is something I agreed with, such as braking with all 4 fingers. I feel like I have finer control with just 2 fingers. Sometimes I add on fingers if I need to stop faster. But I think the main point that I guess that they were trying to get across was that slow progressive braking is the most important thing. So regardless, you take away key messages, right? And you just kind of adjust the techniques to how you feel comfortable carrying them out. So overall, I recommend the course because you learn basic skills in a controlled environment without feeling bad for making mistakes. The more important thing is that you'll learn emergency maneuvers, which can actually save your life during like, oh shit moments. So it is what it is. Would I say the course is only for people with no riding experience, beginner riders, or could someone like a veteran rider with years of riding under their belt take the course as well? I would say both parties could take the course. There's things to learn on both ends. Beginner riders obviously don't have much experience going in, so you kind of have a fresh canvas to kind of start with how you should be doing things. And then on the opposite end, you have people that have been riding for years who never took a course. But at the same time, if they never took a course, they never really learned proper techniques, and they might have just been doing things and getting away with improper technique, which is fine. But at the end of the day, there's always things that can be improved on, right? So I would say both beginners and people with years of experience can benefit from taking a beginner rider motorcycle course. Anyways, so those are my thoughts on whether it was worth it. And to answer the question, yes, it was absolutely worth it. But to each their own. For some people, if they have someone that could teach them these things, or if you know an instructor that could teach you these things, the point is to at least attempt to learn proper technique and set a good foundation for yourself and go from there. Hopefully this made sense, and hopefully this helped if you were on the fence about whether to take the course or not, or just wanted to know what a beginner rider's perspective was going into it. All right, y'all. Thumbs if you enjoyed it, subs if you loved it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.